A few years ago, a 56-year-old man told me a story that stayed with me. He had been talking to a woman he met at a small coffee shop near his home. Nothing dramatic, no loud flirting, no obvious signs, just simple conversations every Saturday morning. They would talk about books, travel, family, and sometimes just sit quietly with their coffee. He told me he liked her, but he assumed she only saw him as a friendly older man. One morning, she looked at him and asked, "Do you spend a lot of time alone?" He laughed and said, "At this age, that's just how it is." He shrugged it off. A week later, she asked, "What are you looking for these days?" He gave a vague answer about staying busy and not thinking too much about relationships. A few weeks passed and she slowly stopped coming on Saturdays. Months later, he realized what had really happened. Those were not random questions. She was not making small talk. She was opening a door. She was trying to understand if there was space for her in his life. And without knowing it, he closed that door with uncertainty and distance. He said something that day I will never forget. He told me, "I thought I needed to impress her. I didn't realize she was just checking if I was emotionally present." That is the part many men miss. Attraction at this stage of life does not shout. It whispers. It does not come with dramatic gestures. It comes with simple questions asked softly. And if you are not listening carefully, you can mistake a moment of real connection for casual conversation. Here is the truth that most men learn too late. A woman who is interested will rarely say, "I want you." Instead, she will ask questions that reveal whether you are open, steady, and moving with purpose. She is not testing your words. She is feeling your energy. She is asking herself if being close to you would feel safe and meaningful. And this is where everything changes. Because once you understand that, you stop chasing signals. You start recognizing them. Welcome to Narc Truth, where we break down the hidden psychology behind attraction, power, and emotional awareness. And today, we're uncovering the two quiet questions women ask when they're truly interested, especially in mature men who know their value. Have you ever seen how some women do not flirt in a loud or clear way? Instead, they quietly test your awareness, especially if you are a man over 50. Women act differently around you at this stage of life. They do not want to appear needy. They do not want to seem too available. So instead of being direct, they ask certain questions. And here is what most men never understand. A woman who feels attracted to an older man will almost always ask two very specific things. It is like a hidden message placed right in front of you. Before I share them, do me a small favor. Tap the like button and leave a comment if you have ever missed a woman's signal and only realized it much later. Your support helps this reach more men who truly need to hear it. Many men over 50 believe they are invisible to women, whether younger women or women their own age. But the truth is very different. Mature men can be more attractive than ever when they understand how women think. The real problem is not women. It is misunderstanding. It is moving through life thinking she was just being friendly when she was actually opening a door for you. Women rarely show interest in an obvious way. They test your emotional calm, your presence, and your ability to notice small details. Feminine psychology works quietly and indirectly. When a woman starts to see you as someone she could trust emotionally, physically, and closely, her energy changes. Her conversation shifts from casual talk to meaningful curiosity. She begins asking questions. Each question is meant to reveal three things: your strength as a man, whether you are grounded or insecure, your emotional and practical availability, and your awareness, meaning whether you can recognize real interest when it appears. This is when the two key questions show up. To understand why these questions matter, you need to understand the psychology behind them. Many men over 50 expect clear and direct signals because they grew up in a time when people spoke more openly. But women today, even mature women, express attraction in a different way. They do not say, "I am attracted to you. I want to get closer. I am thinking about you in a romantic way." Instead, they explore. They feel first. Women ask carefully chosen questions to see if you are a man they can move toward without fearing rejection. Here is the quiet fear many women have, especially with older men. If she shows interest too clearly, she worries he will see her as needy or desperate. So she hides her attraction inside curiosity. She places it inside questions that seem harmless to a man who is not paying attention. And if you miss them, she usually will not repeat the invitation. Women rarely offer the same emotional opening twice. Feminine psychology is layered and subtle. Women use questions the way men use actions. When a man is interested in someone, he offers help, direction, protection, or support. When a woman is interested, she asks a question that softly hints at closeness. There are many questions a woman may ask in daily life, but only two appear again and again when she is carefully exploring intimacy with a mature man. Understand something important. She is not asking because she wants to invade your life. She asks because she wants to feel your emotional warmth. She wants to sense, is he calm? Is he steady? Is he open to my energy? Does he stand confidently in his masculinity or hide behind politeness? These questions are not about gathering information. They are about building connection. They create a small emotional pull between you and her. Think of them as small bridges she gently places to see if you step forward with presence. When you do, something changes inside her, both mentally and physically. Most men answer these questions on the surface, but a wiser and more grounded man hears what is beneath her words. When she asks them, she is not collecting facts. She is checking alignment. She is checking awareness. She is checking if you notice what lies under the surface. When a woman feels drawn to you, she does not need you to show off money, strength, or impressive stories. She needs to feel that you are present, aware, and emotionally steady. These two questions matter because they are not random curiosity. They are invitations. The first question she asks a man she desires is meant to reveal one thing: your availability. Not your schedule, but your heart. She wants to sense whether your life has emotional space for her. This is not a practical question. It is psychological. It is her way of asking, are you open or closed? Can you connect, or are you hiding inside routines? Can I move closer without feeling pushed away? Women do not like wasting emotional energy, so they test for openness before showing deeper interest. The second question she asks when she wants intimacy is about your direction, not your job title or career plans, but your inner direction. She wants to know if your life has purpose, movement, and masculine stability. Women do not open to men who drift without focus. They open to men who are anchored, men who know who they are and where they stand. This question helps her feel, is this man emotionally alive? Does he carry stability? Can I feel safe around him? Does he have boundaries? Or is he simply floating through life? The second question is not about details. It is about your core. When she asks it, she is already imagining what being close to you might feel like. These questions are very important for men over 50. At this stage of life, many women assume something about you. They believe you have already lived most of your emotional chapters, so they hesitate to step into your world unless they feel sure they will matter. These two questions, soft and almost invisible, are her way of checking if there is space for her and if the man she feels drawn to is living with purpose. These questions are not really about your plans, they are about your energy. When you recognize them, you step into the moment with awareness. When you miss them, the opportunity fades quietly. Women rarely offer the same emotional invitation twice. When they open a door, it usually happens once. Remember this: a woman does not test your words. She tests your presence and awareness. When you learn to recognize the questions she uses to signal attraction, you stop guessing if she is interested. Before you leave, help this channel grow. Comment the phrase "I see the signs" below to show you understood the message and are ready to use it. Your support helps this reach more men who truly need it. Women show attraction in subtle and emotional ways, often invisible to men who expect clear signals. This matters even more for mature men because women see older men differently. They expect more depth, more presence, and more clarity. A younger man can be confused and still be seen as learning, but a man over 50 is viewed differently. Women assume he has lived enough life to know who he is and what he wants. That is why their interest appears through emotional signals instead of obvious actions. When a woman asks about your openness or direction, she is not just gathering facts. She is trying to feel your emotional world. She wants to know if moving closer to you will feel safe and meaningful. This connects deeply to how women experience special times like Christmas. Christmas is not about what you give. It is about how deeply you see her and how intentionally you make her feel valued. It is not only about gifts or lights. It is about presence and connection. For many women, the holiday brings strong emotions. Memories, hopes, and expectations mixed together, creating a space that feels beautiful and vulnerable at the same time. If you truly want to touch her heart during Christmas, it is not about spending a lot of money or making big gestures. It comes down to three simple but powerful things that show care and understanding. The first is deep listening, not just hearing her words, but feeling the emotions behind them. When she talks about her childhood, her family, her dreams, or her worries, she is opening her inner world. Your role is not to fix or judge. Your role is to stay present and show that her feelings matter. When you listen with full attention, she feels respected and valued. That creates emotional safety, which is the base of attraction. The second is emotional presence. This means being fully there, not distracted or focused on your phone. When you sit with her, truly be with her. Look into her eyes. Let your body language show you are engaged. This silent message speaks louder than words. It tells her she is important in that moment. The third is intention. Everything you do should feel thoughtful. A small morning message, a simple compliment, a warm hug, or a deep conversation can touch her heart more than an expensive gift. Women feel loved when they sense intention behind your actions. When you combine deep listening, emotional presence, and clear intention, you create an experience she will always remember. She will not remember the price of a gift. She will remember how you made her feel. This is the same energy she searches for when she asks those two questions. She wants to feel your inner world. She wants to sense your direction and stability. The next time a woman asks, "Do you spend a lot of time alone?" or "What are you looking for these days?" do not answer without awareness. Pause and feel the moment. Understand what she is truly asking. She is asking if you are emotionally available. She is asking if you have direction. She is asking if she can trust you with her heart. When you answer with calm clarity, you stand out from most men. You become attractive not because of fancy words, but because of the energy behind them. You show that you are grounded and that you know who you are. You show that you are not drifting through life. Women are drawn to men who feel solid inside, men who are comfortable with themselves and have purpose, even if it is still growing. You do not need to have everything perfectly figured out. You only need to know your direction and move toward it with steady confidence. There is something powerful about understanding emotional signals instead of waiting for obvious words. Many men over 50 believe attraction should look clear and direct, but mature attraction is rarely loud. It moves quietly. It shows up in tone, timing, and the way a woman studies your responses. When she asks about your alone time or your direction in life, she is not making small talk. She is trying to feel your emotional structure. She is asking herself, does this man feel steady? Does he feel safe? Can I relax around him without feeling pressure or confusion? Women at this stage of life are not chasing excitement the way they may have in their 20s. They are drawn to emotional safety, calm strength, and clarity. They have already experienced inconsistency, mixed signals, and emotional chaos. So when they meet a man over 50, they look for something different. They look for depth. They look for self-awareness. They look for a man who has learned from life, not one who is still running from it. That is why your energy matters more than your words. Emotional availability does not mean you are desperate for connection. It means you are open without being empty. It means you enjoy your life, but you are willing to share it with the right person. Women feel the difference between a man who is lonely and a man who is comfortably alone. A lonely man feels like he needs her to fill a space. A grounded man feels like he is inviting her into a full and stable life. That difference changes everything. Direction is just as important. A woman wants to feel that your life is moving somewhere, even if the path is simple. You do not need a huge mission or dramatic goals, but you need intention. You need to know what matters to you. When she senses that you wake up with purpose, that you value growth, peace, health, or meaningful relationships, she feels secure. Direction creates emotional leadership. It tells her that if she joins your life, she will not feel lost or unsure. Another important part of this is emotional consistency. Mature women watch patterns. They notice if your words match your behavior. They notice if your mood shifts quickly or if you stay steady under pressure. Calm consistency builds trust. When you react with balance instead of drama, you show emotional control. That is deeply attractive because it makes her feel protected without you saying a single word about protection. Confidence at this age is quiet. It is not loud or competitive. It does not need to prove anything. It shows in how you listen, how you speak, and how comfortable you are with silence. When a woman feels that you are secure within yourself, she relaxes. Relaxation is where attraction grows. If she feels she must manage your emotions, reassure you constantly, or guess where she stands, attraction slowly fades. It is also important to understand that mature women value emotional depth over surface charm. They are less impressed by performance and more drawn to authenticity. When you answer her questions honestly but calmly, without oversharing or shutting down, you show balance. Balance is powerful. It says you have lived, you have learned, and you are not afraid of connection. At this stage of life, attraction is less about excitement and more about alignment. She is not just asking if you are single. She is asking if your emotional world aligns with hers. She is checking if your values, pace, and priorities fit together. When you respond with clarity and grounded energy, you make that alignment easier to feel. The truth is simple. Mature attraction grows in calm spaces. It grows in steady eye contact, thoughtful answers, patient listening, and clear direction. If you focus on being emotionally open, intentional, and present, you will not need to chase signals. You will start to recognize them naturally. And when you recognize them, you respond with quiet confidence instead of doubt. That is what truly sets a grounded man apart. At the end of the day, this is not about memorizing the perfect response or trying to decode every word a woman says. It is about awareness. It is about understanding that attraction, especially with mature women, is quiet and intentional. When she asks if you spend a lot of time alone, she is not just asking about your schedule. When she asks what you are looking for, she is not just making conversation. She is feeling your emotional space. She is trying to understand your direction. If you stay calm, grounded, and clear about who you are and where you are going, you will not need to chase or overthink. You will naturally stand out. Women are drawn to emotional steadiness, purpose, and presence. You do not have to be perfect. You just have to be aware and honest about your path. So the next time those questions come, do not brush them aside. Pause, listen, feel the moment. Because sometimes the opportunity for something real does not come with fireworks. It comes quietly through a simple question, and it is up to you to recognize it. If you found this insight helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a truth about emotional awareness and attraction. And drop the word aware in the comments below if this video opened your eyes. Let me know you're ready to notice the signs.